I've always believed a wedding day is like a rose, beautiful, delicate, but with thorns that can draw blood if you're not careful. That morning, the air was thick with the scent of lilies and promise. My son, Caleb, was marrying Isabella, a vision of grace with porcelain skin, golden hair cascading like a waterfall, and eyes blue as a summer sky. She was the kind of beautiful that made you stop and stare, like a painting come to life. But as I watched her glide down the aisle, her white gown shimmering under the chandeliers, something tugged at my heart. A mother's instinct, perhaps. Or maybe it was the way her smile faltered, just for a moment, when she looked at Caleb. I'm May, though everyone calls me Auntie May. I've raised Caleb alone since his father passed, and I've learned to read people like the pages of a well-worn book. Isabella was a mystery, though, a book with a locked cover. She'd swept into our lives 6 months ago, charming Caleb with her laughter and elegance. He was smitten, and I wanted to believe she was the one. But there was something about her, something guarded, that made my heart uneasy. The wedding was perfect, or so it seemed. The venue, a grand estate with ivy-covered walls and a sprawling garden, glowed under the golden September light. Guests laughed, champagne flowed, and Isabella's beauty stole every glance. She moved like a queen, her veil trailing like a comet's tail. Caleb couldn't take his eyes off her, and I tried to let my worries melt away. But as the night wore on, I noticed her slip away from the reception, her face pale, her hands trembling as she clutched her purse. I followed her. Call it nosiness or a mother's protectiveness, but I couldn't help myself. She disappeared into the guest house where she and Caleb would spend their first night as husband and wife. The door was ajar, and I peeked inside. Isabella stood by the bed, her back to me, rummaging through her suitcase. Her movements were frantic, almost desperate. Then she pulled out a small, leather-bound diary, its lock glinting in the lamplight. She glanced over her shoulder, as if sensing someone, and I ducked back, my heart pounding. What was so important about that diary that she'd leave her own wedding to check on it? I didn't mention it to anyone. Not yet. The reception continued, and Isabella returned, her smile back in place, though her eyes were distant. Caleb was too lost in love to notice, but I couldn't shake the image of that diary. What secrets could a woman like her, seemingly perfect, be hiding? The next morning, their first day as a married couple, I woke early. The estate was quiet, the air crisp with the promise of autumn. Caleb and Isabella were still in the guest house, and I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The garden path led me past the lake, its surface still as glass, reflecting the pale dawn sky. That's when I saw it, a suitcase, half submerged in the water, its handle caught on a branch. My breath caught. It was Isabella's suitcase, the one I'd seen her rummaging through last night. I waded into the shallows, the cold biting at my ankles, and pulled the suitcase free. It was heavy, waterlogged, but intact. My hands shook as I unzipped it, half expecting to find nothing but soaked clothes. Instead, I found the diary, sealed in a plastic bag, untouched by the water. My fingers hesitated over the lock. This wasn't my place, I told myself. But Caleb was my son, and if Isabella was hiding something that could hurt him, I had to know. I took the diary back to my room, guilt gnawing at me. The lock was simple, and with a hairpin, I pried it open. The pages were filled with Isabella's elegant handwriting, but the words froze my blood. It wasn't a diary of love or dreams. It was a confession. She wrote of a man named Daniel, someone she'd loved before Caleb. A man who'd disappeared under mysterious circumstances. She described their last night together, a fight, a storm, and a car accident on a rain-slicked road. She'd been driving. She'd survived. He hadn't. My heart pounded as I read on. Isabella hadn't told anyone, not the police, not her family. She'd fled the scene, terrified, and built a new life, leaving her past buried. But the guilt haunted her. She wrote of nightmares, of seeing Daniel's face in crowds, of fearing the truth would catch up to her. The final entry, dated the day before the wedding, read, "I love Caleb, but I don't deserve him. If he ever finds out, he'll hate me. I have to keep this locked away forever. I sat there, the diary trembling in my hands. Isabella wasn't a villain, but she wasn't innocent either. She'd carried this secret into her marriage, into my son's life. What was I supposed to do? Confront her? Tell Caleb? Or keep her secret, knowing it could destroy them later? I decided to talk to her. I found her in the guest house, alone, staring out the window at the lake. Her beauty was striking even now, her white silk robe glowing in the morning light, but her eyes were red-rimmed, as if she hadn't slept. Isabella, I said softly, holding the diary behind my back. We need to talk. She turned, her face paling. Auntie May, what's wrong? I held up the diary, and her breath caught. I found this, I said. In the lake. I read it. Her eyes filled with tears, and she sank onto the bed. I didn't mean for anyone to know, she whispered. I thought I could start over, be someone new with Caleb. I love him so much. Then why didn't you tell him? I asked, my voice sharp despite myself. He deserves the truth. I was afraid, she said, her voice breaking. I thought he'd leave me. I thought I could bury it. I sat beside her, my heart torn. Part of me wanted to protect Caleb, to shield him from this pain. But another part saw the woman before me. Not the radiant bride, but a broken soul, carrying a weight too heavy for one person. What happened that night, Isabella? I asked gently. With Daniel? She told me everything. The fight had been about nothing, petty jealousy, a misunderstanding. The rain had been relentless, the roads treacherous. She'd lost control of the car, and when she woke, Daniel was gone, the car wrecked. She'd panicked, fled, and never looked back. I didn't mean for it to happen, she sobbed. I've hated myself every day since. I listened, my heart aching. She wasn't a monster, just a woman who'd made a terrible mistake. But mistakes have consequences, and this one could shatter Caleb's trust. You have to tell him, I said finally. If you love him, you owe him the truth. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Will you be there when I do? I agreed, though dread settled in my chest. We found Caleb in the garden, laughing with his cousins, his face glowing with the joy of his new life. When he saw us, his smile faded. Ma? Isabella? What's going on? Isabella took a deep breath, clutching my hand. Caleb, there's something I need to tell you. Something I should have said before. As she spoke, I watched my son's face change, confusion, then shock, then pain. He didn't yell or storm off. He just listened, his eyes fixed on Isabella, searching for the woman he'd married. When she finished, silence hung heavy between them. Do you still love me? She whispered. Caleb didn't answer right away. He looked at me, then back at her. I need time, he said finally, his voice hoarse. I love you, but I need time. Isabella nodded, tears falling freely now. I wanted to wrap them both in my arms, to fix this, but some things can't be fixed by a mother's love. I left them to talk, stepping back into the garden, the diary still in my hand. The lake glittered in the distance, holding its secrets beneath the surface, just as Isabella had held hers. That first day of their marriage wasn't the fairy tale it should have been. It was raw, messy, real. I don't know if Caleb and Isabella will make it through this. Love is strong, but trust is fragile, and secrets, even buried ones, have a way of rising to the surface. All I can do is pray they find a way to heal, to build something new from the ashes of her past. And as for me, I'll keep watching, keep loving, keep hoping, because that's what mothers do, even when their hearts are breaking.